Well, that was much better. A pretty eventful day here at the stable so far. We may have only raced two horses, but a lot of action already. We'll get right into it. Memory and imagination. I brought you that video earlier telling you I just didn't know what was going to happen. When the gate sprung, it looked like I was going to blast over to the front, no problem. But he did put a couple of steps in. He'll do that. You know, it's almost like he gets out of there quick and he wants to look left to see what he's doing rather than just letting me worry about that. But he just, not a big deal anyway. They were going lots, and I really wouldn't have wanted to get into a speed duel with Andy Miller and Flyby anyway. It worked out really, really well. You know, I knew that Activation could leave. We've had him. We know the horse. I know that Flyby is going to be going out of there pretty good, and you know the other horse on the inside is going to be going out of there. So as soon as I saw that I was not going to get to the front as uneventfully as it seemed when I came out of the gate, I just retreated over into the 4-hole. Right behind Tony Hall. It looked like Tony was looking a little antsy, which was going to work out great for us. It wouldn't have mattered. First over, he's just as tough. You know, that race that, you know, just go back to earlier in the summer when he was parked the entire mile and was a drawing off winner. I mean, he'll do his work. There's no, well, he needs this trip or that trip. He'll do his work. He's a worker. And when I ended up second over, the second quarter I saw was a little soft. The track was muddy. And you know, we were marching pretty good down the backstretch, but I just felt I wasn't certain. Like, there's a couple of times you'll hear me say I knew I was a winner at the half, or, you know, and I don't mean it to be arrogant, just the way the horse feels and the way the race is setting up, you got a pretty good feel for what's going on, and I thought I was in real good shape. A lot of things could still go wrong. The problem with the mud is, underneath that mud, they were screening it all day. It was really hard. And Memory and Imagination is a sore-footed horse. He wears elbow boots. He wears a lot of weight because he can get pacey and will pace. He paced on Scotty twice in Kentucky in the same race. So it wasn't a slam dunk by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same token, I was comfortable. Around the last turn, I moved him over. I could see the Flyby was starting to falter a bit. The horse first over was already softened up. I couldn't imagine Andy Miller was going to let Activation through the inside, even if he had enough pace. And just a quick look around at the blink of an eye, and I was pretty sure I was a winner at that point. And the horse just raced good, finished up, kind of wandered through the turn, got his ears up, looking around. He's just such a nice horse. You know, I talked to a couple of my partners shortly after, a couple of stakeholders on the horse, and just said, you know, how lucky we are. There's 3 two-year-old trotting colts, 2 two-year-old trotting colts, and a pacing colt that have made a lot of money this year for us and have done very, very well in the state of Kentucky, which only strengthens our position. If you would have asked me, I would have said 2 years ago I wouldn't have thought we'd be having this conversation about Kentucky. It just seems like a hornet's nest all the time. But we've been very fortunate there this year, and 2 of my bigger wins in my life have come here. Although, you know, I keep saying it wasn't about the money with the Bluegrass and the International Stallion Trot. It was about the race itself. Those are big draws. Those are big races, and you know, very, very happy and very fortunate that we were able to you know, have some real concrete luck in Lexington this year, in Kentucky this year, Oak Grove, and then Lexington, and now Corbin. All 3 tracks we had luck at this year. So very fortunate in that regard. Thank you again. Wallop today, not his type of race. You know, that second quarter, it looked like we could have snuck in a pretty decent breather. They got stiffer rules on second quarter breathers there, and maybe that's why Bruce didn't or wouldn't or couldn't with Wallop, and he softened up in the mud. So he'll be coming back to us. We have options with this guy. Nominals a 10 claimer at the Meadows, nominals a 10 claimer at Dayton. I don't know if there's a whole lot for him in Northfield, but I could be wrong. So and then of course, you know, if he does come around and look as good as I think he will, you know, he still has options at Mohawk also. So there's that. Now I happen to be peering at the preferred sale. Obviously, we have Harrisburg coming up, but that isn't to say that I'm not going to be on the lookout for those Harrisburg-type horses, and I certainly was. Now, aside from all that, I did have interest in a weanling filly, a tactical landing filly out of Queen Serene, who I just thought would probably be worth a lot as a yearling, and And since she is a filly, probably just generally worth a lot. That family is very, very strong. And I see Ernie he just happened to buy all his horses back. So we didn't get anywhere near the weanling. There were 2 horses later in the sale. There's only 2 that I liked in the whole sale. One was a tactical landing colt with 3 lifetime wins and a mark of 157, who was a former $100,000 yearling. George Ducharme has had him. And I really, when I think of what we paid for a Sliver of Fashion and what we paid for these horses, that similar types, breeding-wise, no, but make and model. Maybe not make, but model. Model. They're very, very similar, right? 57 trotters. Very low wins. Lots of upside. And even with this guy, the pedigree that made him a $100,000 yearling, I almost got him for 11.5. Whoever bid twice waited until like the last jump, like 5 seconds left the last time. I hate that. Jumped on it. And I was probably gonna let him go because, there's that hazy area between where he was, which is almost Amish money, to where what we paid for some of the other horses, Sliver and Wallop and those types of horses. Now you're in the fall, so the upside is not the same. It's not really apples to apples, but you kind of get what I'm talking about. We paid $13,500 for a horse that I believe one of his only breaks was his last start. Before that, it had taken a mark of 57 and raced in that Wallop type class. And quite frankly, in hindsight, we'll talk about the other horse that we also did buy. We ended up with 2 horses for the price of what I thought we'd get for Wallop, and one of them beat Wallop. Now, you can say, well, it means you overpriced Wallop. In hindsight, I don't have really a lag to stand on, do I? It's right there in front of me. But the second horse, Walter's Keepsake, I like this horse. This is a Walner horse, doesn't wear any hobbles or anything. Trot's really nice. Finished 4th in the final, so beat Wallop in the final. And almost beat Wallop in the elimination, I believe, also. He only beat us by a head. We only beat him by a head. So here's another horse. 140,000, made a mark of 56 and 5 lifetime wins. These are the horses I would be buying in Harrisburg. If these 2 horses were lined up in Harrisburg, I would be bidding on both of them and happy to buy both of them. And I think we would have had to pay more for both of them than we paid for them today. I bought one for $13,500 and the other one for $31,000. $44,500 for 2 very lightly raced, very capable trotters, 3-year-old trotting colts. I don't see an issue, a red flag of any kind with either of these 2 horses. This is our bread and butter. This is our late night snack. These are what we go to, our comfort food. These are the 3-year-old trotting colts, and these guys were, I just thought, very, very easy purchases. So I was happy with the purchase of both of them. And then in talking about Wallop, he was a 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that. I knew around the last turn we were in trouble. Wallop's a smaller horse, and it was a deep track today. Not really the, run the front end hot and then beat them up. It's more grab the lead, slam the brakes, let one roll up into his blind spot and, let them tussle. And that's the kind of horse that Wallop is. And we'll get him into either the class at the Meadows or the class in Dayton, one or the other, over the next couple of weeks. We have a number of horses to shuffle around, and we'll have some horses to sell also moving forward. So we've had a very, very good run to start the week. We had a third, admittedly a little sad, I guess, to end the week with Arson. He was beat fair and square though, and raced his butt off and raced really good. He has 1 start left in that pop-up where he will inevitably be the favorite going into the race. So there's that. I had said to, again, one of our clients, one of our partners on Arson, and just said, hey, think of it this way. He literally is racing in a maiden. The horses that he's racing against would be a tough maiden class, and he has 8 lifetime wins. And they're going to let us race for $25,000 next week. Part of me is saying don't be greedy and race him at 1 more start, but I just don't understand why I wouldn't. We're never going to get a chance to race against that caliber of horse again with this horse. And that's not making fun of the other horses, but aside from a couple of them, he is simply better than they are. Now, he can get beat. Maybe he's a little tired. I don't know. I don't think he is. Certainly doesn't act like he is. He fought on just like he did before in the final on Sunday. I thought he raced great. So he had a great finish with Wallop. we had a better finish with Memory and Imagination, but a great race with him too. We got sorry, not Wallop, Arson. We had a great race and a good finish with Arson. A great race with Memory and Imagination, and to come back with a so-so race with Wallop, but he'll come back now to us and purchase 2 horses that are going to play. I love to say it, you know, they're gonna make immediate impacts in the barn, and I hope they do, as we see Sliver get up, and as we see Coupe de Ville get up, and we see other horses get up. It's nice to have horses coming along behind them that are quality animals that, as I said, can make that immediate impact, and both of these guys can, will, and should do that. So with that, I'm going to let you go. Obviously, we got Gandalf tonight, we got Tiger, we got All Gas, No Brakes still to come. I promised somebody I would drive a horse at Northfield for them, and I think I should, because the owner of the horse is the surgeon that takes our OCDs out and fixes the ridgelings up for us in Pennsylvania. Dr. Brown, Keith Brown, is the owner of the horse tonight. He asked me to drive the horse. There was a mix-up where I was supposed to be on him, and then I wasn't. I am on the horse, and I am going to race him tonight. I think he's in race 10, but I won't be there in time to race, but I will be there in time to watch our boy Gandalf. So with that, I hope you guys are having a great day. It is a nice day. You're not going to get me to say that very often when it's pouring rain and the freezing cold. You're not going to get me to say it's a pretty good day. But it was a pretty good day. Take care.